Hello, hello. Hey, She Army, and welcome to the Simply She Podcast Live. This is episode 68, and I'm your host, Crystal Vernay. And today we're going to be discussing the power of women taking charges in their finances. So, as I always say, since we're doing this thing live, there's no pause, there's no rewind, and we are definitely unfiltered here on the Simply She Podcast. And also, we want audience participation. So, first things first, make sure you allow StreamYard access to either your Facebook account or YouTube. You can
Okay.
revoke access to StreamYard at any time, but that's how we're able to see, as the panelists, we're able to see the comments and questions that you're leaving under your name. No worries if you don't want to, that's okay. We can still see you, we just won't be able to see who you are on the platform. But anywho, you can feel free to drop questions and comments into the comment section of the live at any time, and we will respond. So, guys, you've heard me repeatedly discuss the importance of women taking charge of their finances and being financially independent. I really think that we need to normalize these types of conversations, especially when
Mhm.
it comes to saving, investing, and wealth building. And my guest today is going to give us some insight into creating financial stability. So let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Sharon Campbell is a chief strategist, business and nonprofit coach, inclusion, diversity, equity, advocate, expert, author, global thinker, and philanthropist. Sharon serves as the principal partner and business strategist, spearheading several partnerships, projects, programs, and events for higher education institutions, state and local government, nonprofit, and for profit corporations. As a sought after strategist, Sharon founded Sharon Campbell Solution Group to build networks and create positive change in communities. Sharon Campbell Solution Group provides business owners, entrepreneurs, self employed, startups, hustlers, hobbyists, cities, towns, nonprofits, and faith based organizations. The focus is to provide a global mindset while expanding their potential possibilities to a wealth mindset and positive actualities. Founder of the Plan to Prosper Global Institute, it provides 5 different certifications to help professionals grow their business and personal as well, personal growth. So, welcome, Sharon, to the show.
Thank you, Krista. I am so excited to be part of your show. When I think about your name, it just makes you say, "This is like sister talk. Sisters helping sisters figure it out." I say, "Oh, this is like sister talk. It's relaxed, and we could just be real and authentic, so we could help each other grow and thrive." So I thank you for having me on your show, but for the work that you do. I really do, because it is truly a sister talk. How do we help each other build our finance? Mhm.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So, I'm really curious. I know the listeners are too. Tell us a little bit more about you and how you got started in business.
I got started in business like over 15 plus years. I just enjoy helping sisters reach their full potential and be their authentic self. So often that we have 2 or 3 jobs, we're trying to figure out how to work full time, raise a family, and have enough money to do retirement. And so we want to retire, but we just seem like we just cannot get there. So I got started with Sharon Campbell Solution Group, said, let me provide knowledge, service, coaching so that we as women can reach our potential. And I am looking forward to helping more women across the global market reach their potential and be authentic with that and help them grow their company. Or if you're employed somewhere, how do you move up that ladder to get more income in the house, and then what to do with it once you get it in there? You know, kids go off to college and then they leave you, Crystal, and then you sit in there and you're like, what? Where you go? And they go, you left at home, and your money goes with them. And so I want women to start putting a little bit more money aside for themselves. So that's how we got. It's out of a need and a passion.
Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about how you work with business owners and entrepreneurs or career professionals.
Well, it's a process. What they can do is just go to our website, which is www.thesharoncampbell.com. Look under our certification program and just drop us a note. So I want to learn more about the certification, entrepreneurship, women in business coaching, women lead. We have a whole session on how women lead in the economy and what we need to do. And then we start a process of getting to know you, trying to help you figure out what is your purpose and what are you doing what you want to do, or you doing what you have to do to make income, which is two different things. Are you following your passion, or you following just some money in order to make an income? Now, there's a difference, and I tell everyone that an entrepreneur, a business owner, is different than someone that goes to work for someone and receive a paycheck. Two different things. We need both in the economy to make the economy work. But when you are an entrepreneur, business owner, you are the paycheck. You are the one that have to bring in all the resources and funding in order to make not only your income, but whoever you hire and the overhead of your company. Compared to someone that goes to work for someone else and they get their check every week or every 2 weeks. So there's a difference there, but at the same time, there are things that you can do to help one another reach your ultimate goal. So what do you think about that? You think there's a difference between an entrepreneur, a business owner, and someone that goes to work every day, and then because they know they're going to get their check at the end of
Yeah,
the week?
absolutely. It's a different conversation. People, I mean, I think, the when it got real was when I started to employ people. I think that's when it really gets real, because you have to worry about somebody other than yourself. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the part where I feel a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of are on the fence. Do they want to stay a solopreneur? That's why people are afraid to scale, because
Mm-hmm.
now you have somebody other than yourself to worry about. And so for me, being in a corporate environment before, I had a team of over 140. So I was constantly worried about my team and making sure that they were okay. And I think, in
Yeah.
looking at some of my leadership, they were more focused on other things, which,
Right.
my thought process was always, if we focus on our people and what
Mm-hmm.
they need, I was like, the
Mm-hmm.
company will flourish. But that, it's
Right.
two different schools of thought there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as, entrepreneurs, I think I posted something the other day that said an entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down.
That's it.
Um,
True. So very true.
yeah.
We'll figure out as we do. But one thing we know, we cannot fall. We cannot do that. Oh,
Well,
that's a great quote. That's
Well, I
good.
think, yeah, for me, there's a couple of different like schools of thought. So of course, someone who's an employee, they know that they're going to be paid, and so they just go, they do their work, and then they leave. The business owner, of course, is going to worry about the employee, but that,
Mm-hmm.
for me, a business owner, that may or may not be their business,
Right.
right? They may be running it, they may have a franchise, so it may not have their stamp on it. An
Right.
entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
for me, has a
Mm-hmm.
brand,
Mm-hmm.
and they're visionary.
Mm-hmm.
So, where someone can come in and step in and run a business like a manager, the entrepreneur is going
Mm-hmm.
to take that business to a new level, a new height, and, maybe make a couple of different businesses off of that one, or start something new. So that's how I look at those different archetypes.
And I agree with you. When we talk about finance, also as an entrepreneur, business owner versus a person that's employed for someone, um, they may have money taken out of their check to go in their retirement. Where an entrepreneur business has to be really think through, okay, I have to make sure I set my retirement up in a way that I can retire and be comfortable. And they are dependent on their self to make sure that happen versus working with someone and that company sets that up for you. And at the end, this is what you get. As an entrepreneur, you are saying, I have to make sure that not only do I set it up, but I manage it. I make sure that I put deposit in there regularly in order for I can yield the retirement that I want. And I think that we as entrepreneurs and business owners sometimes miss that boat. We're so busy working in our company, working on our company, and we always push retirement. Like, well, we're going to get to it. But guess what? When you do your budget, it must be in there. It has to be up at the top and not the last thought. Because you're going to retire. How about if you decide you want to sell that company, but you have not placed things in place to sell it? So if you come to me and you say, I want to sell my consulting company, and I said, well, let me see your financials. And I don't see that you put anything in retirement. I don't see how you have grown the company. It'll be, yes, you got a good database, you got a good list of customers, but where is it that you made your profit? That so whenever I buy this from you, that I can take it and scale it at the same time. And so I think we need to think about retirement and placing that at the top of the list. Salary, retirement, benefits, then everything else go up under it. So what are your thoughts on setting up a budget that way?
I think that's a great way to set it up. For
Mhm.
me, that was one of the first things that I did when I was able, and maybe
Okay.
part of that too came from working in a corporate environment where that's like your benefits package. It's like
Mhm.
retirement is a thing. I always save for retirement. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if it's something really small. When I first,
Mhm.
first started working, my salary was not so great. Maybe I just put away $100 a month, and that was all I could
Mhm.
afford. But I put away
Mhm.
something,
Right.
and I can tell you that that's honestly what saved me going through my divorce was my
Mhm.
retirement,
Right.
and that really helped me get through some of the situation that I was going through. So, I
Mhm.
mean, the fact that I not just that, but saved in other areas as well was
Mhm.
really instrumental
Mhm.
in ensuring that I would be, financially stable for the
Mhm.
rest of my life. So, I
I
definitely
love
think,
what you just said. I love that. You said create a retirement packet for you as a business owner, as an
mhm,
entrepreneur. That should be when you decided to open up that company, decide you want to go in business. That should be one of one, two, three retirement packet, and not say I can't afford it. Not say well I do it later on, but make that part of your benefit packet to as a business owner on
mhm,
that. So often we don't make that as part of our packet at all. But when you said that, I was just like, yeah,
yeah.
a benefit packet. That
Yeah.
sounds.
I mean, I offer that to my employees as well because it's kind of like, even though for my studio, most of them, well, all of them are part time,
Mhm.
I want to show them that it's still important to save for
Mhm.
retirement. You may have that at your full
Mhm.
time job, but
Mhm.
you have the option to do it here if you would like to.
Right.
So, just kind of setting the example and just showing them, like, hey, we all need to be thinking about, what we're going to be doing after we no longer can work or want to work. So, like I said, that was one of the first things that I did
Yeah.
when I was able.
You know, you bring this to mind. I am an author of this book, Getting Past Stuck, your GPS system to running and managing your company. And when I look at the chapters, when I'm thinking about the chapters, how I wrote them, I put retirement as one of the last chapters. And I'm just like, that should have been chapter probably number two. When setting up your corporation, set up your retirement plan also. So thank you for that insight. You know, when you get to sisters get together and talk, you'll be amazed at the knowledge that we have between one another, and it have us to start thinking about when we do presentations, when we talk to our clients, when we working in growing coaching businesses and I think clients have to grow their company and stuff. We need to start having that conversation up front than making it last. And we tend to make that's the last thing. Like we don't have any money unless we make that last. No, no, no. You need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure you whole. You make sure that you are healthy so that you can grow that company. So that's the aha moment I have. You just gave me that aha
Mhm.
moment. So I'm gonna include that and probably rewrite the book and switch that to number three, the retirement packets. Yes. Not number
Awesome.
chapter
Well, I'm
11.
glad I
It's an afterthought.
could. I'm glad I can provide that insight. So, what do you feel like when we're talking about women taking charge of their finances? What do you feel like is the first step in really becoming financially savvy?
First, we need to admit that we may have some challenges managing money. Sometimes we have too many credit cards and we spend too much time charging and go. And that we need to admit that we have some spending practices that's not healthy. Sometimes we buy too many things. I was thinking about how many pocketbooks do we really need? How many shoes do we really need? How many health care products do we really need? How many skirts, blouses, tops, shoes do we really need? And we take assessment of that, we would say, I got $10,000 of stuff in my closet that I really don't need. How many black pocketbooks do you really need? How many brown ones? Please. But we don't think that way. We just go and act. And I think that we need to start really thinking about long term. And so for myself, I had to say that. I believe in being authentic with my audience. So I was cleaning out my closet, and this is real. I gave away 75 pocketbooks because I didn't need them. Matter of fact, I was like, when did I buy that pocketbook? Why did I buy that pocketbook? And I started thinking about, after I finished, Crystal, I looked up on my shelf and I'm just like, how many more is up there? Because I'm not using them, especially during COVID-19. I definitely have not taken a pocketbook anywhere.
No.
And then I was looking at my shoes and I said the same thing. I'm just like, if I could just have to deposit all of that into my retirement, wow, what would that look like? And so that was the aha, is that we really need to look at what we are purchasing. Sometimes we buy things to make us feel good, and it's not the best choice. My sister said to me, I always keep the receipt, because when I'm an impulsive buyer, she said, then I bring it home and I'm like, oh, let me take this back and get my money back. And so you have to know that. The other one is, we really need to create a budget. It's going to be a lifesaver. And you really need to look at what's on that budget. Now, there's certain things I do not want to give up. I love getting my nails and toes done and my hair cut. I do. It makes me feel good. That self-care. I don't want to give that up. But then I said, what can I give up that really I don't need to do? Okay. So during COVID-19, did we go get our nails done like we used to do? No.
Absolutely
I think
not.
people saved more money during COVID-19, the first year of it, because they weren't going anywhere. They were just like, well, these nails coming off. I'm going to the basic. And you start thinking, is this what my nails look like? Oh my goodness, I can polish them myself. We start saving so much money during that time. And so I think that, yes, I believe in self-care. Oh, yes, I do. But do I need 35 lipsticks? No, I do not. And so you have to start thinking different. Take that money, not want to put it in retirement, but go take you a trip and with you and have some fun and live a little. The other one is, we spend as women too much money on our kids, giving them things that we think they need. And one of the things that my grandchildren said to me, she says, Grandmama, we love this, but we don't need this. I'm like, well, I thought you needed it, but I'm finding out from them. First, I did not ask them, did they need anything? And I just felt they needed. And I'm like, whoa, you mean I could have kept all my money? And so I think we have to start not acting emotionally, but really think about why we spending our money the way we are. Do that mean you have to not have nice things? No. What it simply says, do you need all of that? The other one is, go into your kitchen. Look in your pantry. Look in your refrigerator. Look at all these foods and products and seasoning, everything that we have, and look at how much money we could save. So I think we have to switch our mindset and start thinking about what besides retiring at 60, if we really could have retired at 50, if we would have placed things in order. But think about it. You could have retired 10 years early if you had the tools to do that. Think about it. You could be traveling more besides having those 75 pocketbooks in my closet that I did not use. And I could have went and had a great trip, enjoy life. And so those are the things I want to share with the audience, is for us to really start thinking about looking around in our homes and said, we need to think better about our money. Now, for those that's married, you may be a little bit different because you have to sit down, talk to your spouse, and you really have to have those deep conversations about money and spend it and how that looks.
Absolutely. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I mean, it's definitely a mindset thing. Once I shifted my mindset and decided that I was going to save, decided that I was going to invest, like I told you, I think I've told you before, I changed my relationship with money.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
changed the way that I thought about it, felt about it. And
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I was able to keep it. I was able to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a long time, I rejected money. I was just like, no, I think,
Right.
people with too much money, that's greedy. And,
Mm-hmm.
not that I didn't think that I or anyone else should be successful. It was
Mm-hmm.
just based on how I grew up. And so I didn't want to have that type of a mindset about money. But once I changed my relationship with it,
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely able to switch the way in which I was doing things. And it definitely paid off in the long run. So that kind of leads me to my next question about investing.
Oh.
Do you invest in anything? And if so,
Oh
what?
yes. Yes. But I want to go back. You said change my relationship with money. That is a powerful statement. Change my relationship with money. I don't think a lot of people may even think about there is a relationship with money. And you touched on that you have to say that I have a relationship with this money. And what is my responsibility with it and how do I manage it? And so that leads into investing. So often we don't believe we can invest as entrepreneurs and business owners. And for us that work for companies, we allow them to invest our money, especially state agencies. We really don't understand what they're invested in. We just trust them to do the right thing. How many corporations you meant that went under and so many employees lost it all, but they trusted them. They're like, oh, the company's here. We're going to go fine. We're going to do that. And then
Hmm.
bam, when
That's
the
right.
recession hit, we trusted them with all our money and we didn't even know what they were invested in. So, yes, we as women need to understand investment. And one of the first steps I would say is you have to read and you have to spend some time. You have to go and understand what investment is, what it can do, and you just start small for just yourself. If you're working for a company, then fine if that, but you yourself come up with what that needs to look like for yourself. And then ask questions. Go to some of these workshops and seminars on investment because it will pique your interest to say, I can do more. I know at a lot of banks, they offer free classes just for you to just get on and listen. And so we need to invest in education and learning on what to invest in. Now, I had a group I was in, and this a lady said, whenever COVID-19 hit, she went straight to the airline industry while they was taking a dive. She said, I invest. All right. She said, I'm like, she said, because they're all coming back. A lot of people didn't think that way, but her was like, let me buy that stock now because they're going down, but they know they wasn't going to go out. So she invested in things that she saw as they're going to come back around and I'm going to be sitting in a sweet spot. And whenever she did, I was like, let me get on my computer before I could go head up. That was a nugget right there. But if when you're not connected, Crystal, and that's it, you have to be connected. You have to be in groups of people that know more than what you say, what you know. And being in there, you are able to learn nuggets, skills, tools, process that will help you. So yes, I join a lot of groups, investment groups, just for knowledge. And then if it
Yeah,
makes sense, then I go do it.
that's right.
Mhm.
I learned about investing from an early age. My mom's a heavy, I don't know if you want, I guess you can call her a day trader because she
Okay.
definitely was on the stock market. She still is in her 70s on the
Oh.
stock market. So I knew about it from a very early age. I think the
Mhm.
thing that when I like took a class on it in college and I realized all the other types of vehicles that were out there and not just this, like I was only familiar with stocks and mutual funds. That's all she ever talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And after reading about it, like you said, gaining that knowledge and being in groups and figuring out, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you can go to long position, you can go to short position, there's options,
Mm-hmm.
there's all these different
Mm-hmm.
things that
Mm-hmm.
you can use. You can like invest on the index. I was just like, oh my God, like there's so many things that you can do to diversify, your investment portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're young is when you want to be risky, and then as you get older, you want to get more risk averse. So I was
Right.
just like, oh, this is definitely something that I need to make sure that I stay abreast upon. And you can invest in things. I mean, there's so many companies have stocks, and I think like people don't realize you can invest in things that you like, things that you know about, things that
Mm-hmm.
you or watching. Like the airline industry was a great example. But
Mm-hmm.
knowing world events and how all that affects the stock market, you're not going to necessarily be paying attention to that or be in tune with that unless
Mm-hmm.
you're in certain circles. I mean, how many people know that they can actually negotiate stock options when they get a job?
Mm-hmm.
Like that can be a part of your benefits package, and it
Right.
absolutely should be, especially if you have a company that's publicly traded. That's the
Right.
first thing. I was like, I want shares of this company. And when I leave, I'm taking them with me.
Me.
That's a part of
Me.
my benefits package. So,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're not in those circles, to know that that's something that you should be negotiating, especially if you're at a C-level position,
Mm-hmm.
especially because of the stake and the time and the energy and the skill set you're putting into that company. You best
Mm-hmm.
leave something when you when
Mm-hmm.
you when you exit that company. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, that's one thing that I want to impress upon people who are listening is don't be
Yeah.
shy from investing. It's so easy to invest now. All the apps and things that we have, it makes it so easy for us to invest, even when we're not even thinking about it. Acorns is a great app. Robinhood is a great app. Um, I believe you can invest some of your shares with capital. So I mean, there's so many different tools that we have now.
E-Trade is out there.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
make it so more accessible to people. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely make sure you get into that.
So let me ask you this question is, and as I talk with people and in groups and discussions that we have, it's all about time management. And there says, are you asking me to do something else, put something else? I just do not have enough time to do what I am. And this is what I say. We don't tap our brain and time management enough. We find ourselves doing a lot of things, like a lot of scrolling the Facebook hours, hours, hours. And but you're not investing in yourself as you stroll and read and all of that. Your whole thing is, well, I could have just have clicked into a 30-minute investment class and got some nuggets. Or we spend a lot of time watching TV. You know what? That TV channel is going to be right there. They do reruns. We really got to think about how we are managing our time in order for it to yield the profit that we are looking for. And so I'm going to encourage the audience to really think about time management of your time and and your wellness and your balance. You know, sometimes you have to get still to hear what it is you need to do. We are so exhausted with going here, going here, going here. Sometimes you have to figure out what is it that I can take off my plate in order for me to do the other things. And it's important that we find that time management in order to do some of the things that's going to help us in investment and knowledge building. Knowledge building is the key to wealth building. You build your knowledge and your portfolio will grow. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your opinion, as women entrepreneurs, how do you think we're doing financially? Do you think we can do better with our finances? And how do you think we can achieve this?
Yes, I think that we are on a pivot as women entrepreneurs. That we really thinking clear about our finance and how we can stretch that to the next level. I see that in the generations coming, what they are thinking about how they can invest their money and retire early. I definitely see it in the generation that's now, let's say, we want to retire at 30. And their whole thing, what I need to do to make the money I need so I can retire 35. I can do community service. I can live longer. I can enjoy life. So I see that trend. But also I see the trend for the baby boomers and middle age thing. You know what? What can we do now different that's not burnout? Because they don't want to burn out all that. So I can enjoy it afterwards and stuff. So I do see that trend for women thinking through that process and engaging more on what to do, where to go to get that, and how to make that sacrifice. Because if you got to wait 10 years, sometimes people don't want to wait 10 years. They want instant, but you have to build a 10 years. So a good example, if you want to retire at say 50, but you want your income to be $6,000 a month, and your average living is 90, that's 40 years. You got to do the math, and you have to say, oh, wow. So I need to have this, and this money needs to be generating interest as I move to the age 90. So I think that people are thinking more because people are living longer. What would that needs to look like? And I also think of people think about one, we want to have our mortgage paid for, because we don't want to be paying for a mortgage on a home while we retire. We don't want that. We're thinking about what is the last purchase of a car. What do you want that car to be like? Now we have kids, we're driving them big SUVs and stuff. Well, when they leave, we don't want to be driving on. We want to drive probably a crossover. So start thinking about, what do you want your retirement home to look like? Do you need all of that home when the child leaves, or you're going to scale down to a smaller? And then how do you pay that off? So whenever you retire, you don't have that. You just have basic living expense. So I think we need to think about how to put that down on a piece of paper, how to track that, and then how to execute it to make sure that at the age of 90, you're still receiving a greater income. You still got that 6,000 plus income coming in, and you're probably giving it away to your great grandkids and stuff like that. But it is your money, and you get to choose what you want to do with it. So that's my strategy.
Well, I think
I want my income. I don't want a house payment. I don't want a car payment. I just want to live, but I want to live at this income every month.
I mean, I think that's something we got to think about. It's like, how do you want to live your life? I think it's a great strategy. I'm definitely doing something similar. So think about that now. So I think, we've gotten to a certain point in our lives. And I know, like, looking back over your entrepreneurship journey, things haven't always been what I would call puppies and rainbows. So what has been the most difficult challenge in your entrepreneurship journey?
Oh, my goodness. I have so many. I try to tell somebody. I think that it's that we think that once we open up the office, everybody going to come. I'm trying to say, you look at where someone else is, and we see that, but we don't see that it took them 10 years to get there. So I think difficult is retraining the brain to know that because you open up that door, clients is not going to be knocking down to get you. No. You have to build that. So I think for myself, it was the myth that I open up the door, everyone going to come. And I think that I learned that is just simply, it's not true. You have to build relationships. You got to build things that need to go so people will come and grow and thrive. That is one. The other one is really understanding how to craft a great budget. What I thought was an operating budget and what actually ended up being one is two different things. Some things I left out. When I think about, I had an office space, and I still have an office space. In the beginning, I didn't need all that office space, but I thought I needed because I thought that's what people have. So there was so many myths out there that I bought into. And when I got out there, I lost a lot of money trying to feed in that. Now, does it mean that you cannot run your company out of your home and stuff? I think you can, but I think there's a balance in that. I think you need some virtual office space also that you can go in and meet with your client and have a different setting, different than being in your home. And it also depends on your clientele. So I think a lot of what is happening is the myths, and we believe them, outweighs what is really happening. So for myself, it was all of that I thought it wasn't actually good information itself. It was not. And I lost money. But the great thing about losing money, that's not a bad thing, because you learn. I said, what's the lesson? How did I learn that lesson? Too often people look at money as I would say how is they don't want to borrow money because they don't want to be in debt. You know what? Debt is good. There's good debt. If you want to grow and scale your company, you have to borrow money. You have to scale that way. And what we try to do is save our own money in order to think about scaling. But that is not a good business practice. You must be able to understand money and how it works and how it managed, and be able to have a great budget to scale your business, and that you can get the loans that you need if you have a product to scale up. You got to show you got good credit. You have all of that. So I think all of those myths keep people from growing, and I know for me it did. But once I worked through all of that, my business just scaled and blossomed. It went to the next level, and so I lost money, but that's not bad. I was listening to Oprah one time, and she said when she went to open up her TV show, the first 5 years she was in the red. She said, yes, Oprah was in the red. And she said, but people thought that was a failure. She said, no, it wasn't. It was lessons learned, that even I did not have all the answers, and all the people I surround myself with, the best. We had to figure some things out to get to the successful show. And sometimes what we do, we see the success, but we don't see how you got there. So I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
So tell us what new projects you're working on.
Well, I am a lifetime learner. I truly believe certification is the key to growth and opportunity. And so we have our global institute, which is Plan to Prosper certification, and we offer 5 different certifications. And we have the business and nonprofit coaching certification. We truly believe that if you're going to be a coach, you need to be certified. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. If you are, if your income is $75,000 as a life coach, and this is just an example, but your client, your ideal client, makes $300,000 to $150,000. When you send your portfolio over to them, if they don't see that you have been certified and you have invested in yourself, and you have the knowledge base, the chances are you are not going to get that contract. People look at the letters behind your name because it says something. It says, I have studied, I have invested, and I'm the best of all of the coaches out there. So we truly believe in the certification program for coaches so they can become the best. We offer nonprofit management certification. It's one thing to open up a nonprofit. It's another thing to understand how to run it, how to govern it. So often the good feel of having it, we want to do it. We want to help the community. We want to do that. But we miss the governance. We miss the process of reporting. We miss what it takes in order to grow it. And when funders see that you have been certified, that raise your grant application up. Because they're like, oh my goodness, they understand nonprofit management. The third is our entrepreneurship ministry. We work with the faith-based community and helping them develop entrepreneurship ministries inside their church. So with all the entrepreneurs in your church, we take them through a training so they are certified in entrepreneurship ministry, which is how do you use the biblical principles inside your company. Think about Chick-fil-A. They are not open on Sunday. You know why? He used biblical principles so he do not have to be open. And guess what? His profit is higher than McDonald's, Burger King, and they are open 7 days. So why not take those principles to grow your business? Our fourth is women in leadership, developing women to be great leaders no matter where they are, whether they're entrepreneur or if they're in a corporation. How do you develop that leadership skill to take you to the next level that yields your profit? And when last, we have our ideal: inclusion, diversity, equality, and advocate. Now, with all that's going around the world about in diversity and inclusion, I want to talk to you about that. If you're not being included at the table, how do you have the conversation about being diverse? First, you got to get at the table. And if you can't talk about diverse, if you don't talk about equality, equal pay. So when if you're not at the table for inclusion or diversity, so we can't have a conversation. And then advocate. You must advocate for policy so that we can all be at the table asking and receiving the same benefit. And so we offer those certifications to strengthen the capacity on global market and of our economy. So that's the project we're working on. We're really at the forefront of it to really ensure so many people monthly receive their certification and that they can measure it to the next level. So that's what we're working on now. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, that's a lot. It was those five different pillars. I'm like, whoo,
yes,
okay.
5 different pillars. Mm-hmm, we get a lot of data on what the economy is looking for and what is missing. I tell people, data is so very important. When you can pull data, you can craft opportunity. And so we pull all this data for different platforms or what is missing on the global market, and we drill all the way down to what is missing on the local market. And those was the 5 that came up as over and over again, saying, if you get this right, your income will increase. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Definitely a big proponent of data-driven business decisions. So for sure, I think that is that's the way to go.
Okay.
So are there any last words or piece of advice that you want to impart to the audience?
Oh, yes. I would like the audience to know more about Simply She, because your platform is providing opportunities for not just myself today, but opportunity for people across the world. So I really want the audience to know about this platform and why you feel it's so important that we educate more women in finance.
Yeah, so for me, I think that's one of my mission behind Simply She is to empower women if we want to make it simple, like keep it simple.
Uh-huh.
But finance is one of the pillars because I truly believe that we just as women don't have those conversations growing up. We are left out of them. You talked about having a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Women are not necessarily, I mean, of course, now in 2021, more women are at the table, but we're still not there enough.
Right.
And so for me, it's really important to see women in that light, in that leadership, because quite frankly,
Mm-hmm.
statistics even show women are better at running businesses than men,
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
we're just not in those positions or not afforded the opportunity necessarily enough and not necessarily seen as a person who's
Mm-hmm.
managing the household finances. Like,
Okay.
I think that should be something that's talked about and the responsibility should be shared. And we should take ownership of that and learn about it and not just say, oh, I don't do that. You know, my husband takes care of it. My mom takes care of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you should
Yeah.
know what's going on in
Mm-hmm.
your own books, whether that's personal or, with your business and, really know the direction in which you want your finances to grow. So I just think finance is just one of my pillars, but I think it's really important because that is how we build wealth. And so understanding, saving, investing, assets, property, like and
Okay.
understanding all these different vehicles to get you where you want to be It doesn't necessarily always have to be that you work a 9 to 5, but you have a side hustle that, there's so many different ways to earn income, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's, active income or passive income, like knowing
Right.
all those different things and setting yourself up for success. You may not be able to do it all at the same time, all at once when you
Mm-hmm.
first
Mm-hmm.
start, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely something that I think we need to have more conversations about, learn about, and be in a better position so that when they are making decisions, on a global scale,
Mm-hmm.
all the different people, we are in the majority in
Right.
terms of like who's being asked about their opinion, and we have influence now on decisions that are being made. And so that's
Okay.
my ultimate goal and the reason why Simply She came to be.
You just said something. We have more influence. That's a powerful statement. We as women have more influence. Just to know that we have that, but also how do we execute that? And so, on the Simply She, do you offer any workshops that people can just sign in on and just learn more about just the basic knowledge of it? Your podcasts are fantastic. I follow you. I think the information you give is so much worth. But is there something that you do, like a workshop that we could tap into?
Yeah, so of course I do weekly lives for free on Facebook at 8
Mm-hmm.
p.m. Eastern. I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
ready to start another live series on Instagram very soon. I'm on Clubhouse, and all this is related different topics, mostly
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, um, business, finance, and then
Mm-hmm.
also I do quite a bit of work on mindset as well. I do
Okay.
from time to time do workshops,
Okay.
workshop series where I try to educate women entrepreneurs on all the different pillars of
Mm-hmm.
Simply She, just giving them those nuggets, even if it's just a something to think about.
Yeah.
Then I've done my job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's something for you to think about. If you haven't thought about this, if you haven't heard about this, go look it up. Go do the research for yourself. Don't just
Mm-hmm.
let someone tell you that it's not possible, it's not for
Right.
you when
Right.
you haven't done the research. And then invest in yourself. That's the other piece of it. Make sure you
Mm-hmm.
invest in yourself. Don't let anybody convince you that, oh, it's not worth it, you'll figure it out. Have you figured it out yet? And how long are you going to sit here
Mm-hmm.
and not figure it out? I think
Right.
I got to a point where I was like, I'm tired of not figuring it out. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
figure it out. I'm gonna get some help and get a mentor and get a coach to help me
Mm-hmm.
figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really the reason why I started Simply She's, because I want women to be able to be in those positions and, like I said, have the influence that I know we should have to
Mm-hmm.
make things better.
I love that. I love what you said about figuring out. So often we are stuck and we are embarrassed to ask for help. Just say, hey, look, I need some help. I can't figure this out. And we end up giving up too quickly because we are stuck and we haven't figured it out. And it is so often you have a great idea, great information, but you're stuck. And besides saying, hey, look, I know for myself, I need help. And I had to learn to ask for help. I learned had to say to folks, you know what? I can't do all of this here. I need you to help. So besides being the serial entrepreneur where you answering the phone, sending out the emails, doing the budget, ask for help. Because the time that you pay someone else to help you do this is more time that you have on building your company. We have this mindset that we need to keep every penny we got. We have to keep every penny in the car. And what happened, Krista, is we lose so much money trying to save all these pennies that we let all the dollars go because we
Mm-hmm.
tired at the end of the day. And I had this client said, I worked all day long, Sharon, and I can't even tell you what I did. And I'm like, so how much money you make? She said, not a dollar, because I'm doing all this tedious work. And I'm saying, just what? If you could have hired someone, they could have done all of that. You could have paid them $100 and you would have made that $1,000 because you're not. We have to change our mindset to say that we don't have to do all everything. You got to
Absolutely.
incorporate other people to help you do some things so you can build your company. And if you're working for someone, that you have time to really give that company all the best in you so you can move up. So when you was talking, I thought about that we sometimes need to ask for help, and it's okay to pay because you're going to
Mhm.
make more money back because it's going to free you up to do everything that you need to do. Thinking about mothers at games, they're on their computer and they're looking at on their computer and looking. They're trying to watch the game, trying to be supportive of the child, but they're so focused. Ask for help. So when you go to that game or you go to that swimming lesson, look across your legs and know that someone else is answering them emails, someone else is doing that, and you can focus where you need to be. Hmm? So that's my
Absolutely.
departing thought for the day. Ask for help.
Absolutely. So tell the listeners how they can find more of you, get more of you. What are your website and your social media handles?
Okay. You can reach me at www.thesharoncampbell.com. It's my name. It's easy. You can also Facebook at Sharon Campbell Solution Group, Instagram, LinkedIn, on all the social medias. And I would love to hear from you. I really. Now, for those that's old school that want to just call me, I'm going to give you my telephone number: 919-274-6845. I I am on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook. I have a show called Plan to Prosper. Join us then. You can get information, but also just follow me. And I will also tell you by doing that, knowledge. I believe in putting knowledge into people, so you can find me that way. Mhm.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sharon. So, for more
Thank
information
you.
on Sharon, yes, and how to connect with her and contact her, you can click on the link in the show notes for this episode. This is episode 68. And you can get the show notes at isimplyShe.com/podcast. Again, that's isimplyShe.com/podcast. And if you'd like to join a collective of women dedicated to being empowered and becoming the best version of themselves, join the She Army Facebook community, and that link is also in the show notes for episode 68. So, guys, I hope you found what we shared today to be helpful. And remember, you too can conquer if you slay hard every day. Thanks so much, Sharon, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day and be safe. Take care.
All right.
Mhm.